What is the main halacha about fish in terms of buying fish and eating fish?
Okay, so when I'm giving my presentation, one of the things, especially when I'm speaking to kids, I like to ask how many people have a short attention span. And a lot of kids will raise their hand. And then I'll ask how many people already forgot the question. And then a bunch of other kids will raise their hand. I said, okay, for those of you with the super short attention span, here's the takeaway that I really need you to come home with. The definition of a kosher fish, practically, when you're trying to figure out if a fish is kosher, you're looking to check if the fish has scales that can be removed from the fish without ripping the skin. That's the Ramban's definition of a kaskeses. The Ramah brings it down halacha. That's the ikar that we're focused on. The Gemara in Chulin says, Kol sheyesh by kaskeses, yesh by snapir. Anything which has kaskeses, a scale as I defined it, will have snapper. So we don't have to check for snapper practically, but we do need to make sure.
Fins. You don't have to check for fins.
We don't need to check for the fins. What we do need to check is to make sure that it has scales that can be removed without ripping the skin. And there are conditions for that, and there are things you have to think about. And what if the scales fall out? What if the scales were scraped off and I didn't see them before they were scraped off? And other ways that we can manage all of those things. But that is the most important thing. And that when you're buying fish, other than salmonid fish, you have to make sure that it's a dog tar before they take the skin off. You cannot rely on buying fish based on the name alone. There's no list that's going to help you. There's no guy behind the counter that assures you that all the Jews buy this or that fish. None of that's going to work. You have to make sure you're dealing with a dog tar before anything else can happen. So,
in other words, that's just practical advice, or there's a gzera d'Rabbanan that you cannot buy fish without skin.
Yeah, so if the fish has no skin, that puts it back into the category of kirvei dagim, which Chazal talk about is the guts of the fish, until, I'm going to guess, somewhere around the 1970s or 80s, when refrigeration technology got improved and we started sending fish fillets, meaning skinless fish fillets, outside of regional areas. It wasn't really a thing except for fish guts, which were preserved and treated and other things. That would have been the only fish product you would have seen where you couldn't identify it by looking at the skin. So Chazal definitely forbade anything that was not identifiable, and we understand that to mean that includes fish by looking at the meat and not seeing the skin. It would still be in that category. And how much skin you have to see, we can discuss that as well. But the bottom line is you have to be able to recognize the fish based on the skin, other than the exceptions to the rule, like we mentioned earlier about salmon.